Today I would like to discuss with you about application firewalls and their exploits and vulnerabilities. Not only will we be talking about the exploits and vulnerabilities, but application firewalls in general and the history that led to application firewalls. The evolution of application firewalls. First, we have stateless firewalls. It was a basic access control list firewall implemented at routers and switches. It was very limited though, because it only permits and denies packets based on certain characteristics within the ACL. Well, they wanted something better than this, so then they came out with stateful firewalls. Which is a more intelligent firewall. It can expect full TCP packets, so intruders cannot send random TCP packets. They can't send random, sins or fins or anything. And it can block traffic but not exploits. So that's when they needed something better than that. So then they had the IDS. It works on the side as traffic is mirrored to the IDS. The IDS detects something malicious, it will send alerts, but it must allow some traffic through. The IDS sits on the side of the network. Well, it's in the network, but it sits on the side, and the packet has to be mirrored to the IDS. So it has to allow traffic to pass through first, which, is not really good. So then they came out with the IPS, which is more aggressive. Traffic has to go through the IPS before moving, unlike the IDS, which sits on the side. It detects attacks and stops traffic, thus solving the limitation of stateful and stateless firewalls. This can actually stop attacks too. The IPS can, if it detects certain attacks. And here's a diagram that I put down, the IDS and IPS, so you can have a general view. See how the IDS sits on the side while the packets are going through and such, and then the IPS is actually sits in the center. That the packets have to go through the IPS first before it goes into the internal network. And then here's a funny picture that I found on the internet that like explains it to you. As a chihuahua compared to a bigger dog. Alright, now we go on to application firewalls. Which cover a lot less than what IPS does, because it only expects a packet based on layer 7 application layer, and not layer 4 TCP. But this is something that IPS didn't do, detect packets on the application layer. So even though application firewalls don't detect exploits and such like IPS does, it's like a step forward to the future. Like the IPS couldn't detect on the application layer, so now application firewalls are here which can do that. So I thought that was pretty neat. This app ID. This feature is built into an application firewall as new technology which enables inspection of application layer protocols, which an IPS couldn't do. Although App ID couldn't inspect the application layer packet, it could inspect the application layer packet. It could not stop exploits like an IPS can, but only detect the application. Here's more about App ID. App ID only detects application and nested application, which is an application inside of an application. Kind of like how Facebook works. You got all these applications within Facebook and such. That's the only really good example I could really give. And then you got FTP. That's just a plain application. It detects applications based on a given signature between client server and server to client. App ID is actually used in a lot of searches, such as antivirus, and if the intruder can trick App ID, it can potentially trick the other services that use App ID. This is where we come into the vulnerabilities and exploits session. If they can trick the App ID in the application firewall, then they usually can trick stuff in antivirus and such like that. Application firewall detection, this is how they detect. It must allow some packets through, like the IDS does, before detecting application, because an application firewall cannot detect layer 4 TCP packets. And you have to send a TCP, you have to do a TCP handshake before sending layer 7 packets to send and acknowledge back and forth, and then they send the application signatures in, so the app ID can detect, what application it is. After the TCP handshake is established, it detects the application, but this is all it does. It will not stop attacks. Alright, here we go into the vulnerabilities. You can start a connection with a permitted application, but once you have connected, you can simply change over to another connection. Nothing permits this. You could connect with a HTTP and then switch over to a DNS or SMTP packet or something. Once you're permitted, that's it. You can just switch over, and there's a lot of vulnerabilities in that. It does not inspect both client to server and server to client, which may lead to poison results. You cannot tell the difference between a packet being sent to the client or server. This can be used to trick the application firewall. So, like everything has vulnerabilities, not only application firewall. So, don't consider application firewall to be bad because it has these vulnerabilities. But hopefully, in the future, things will be improved on this. So these vulnerabilities, won't exist anymore. There's more vulnerabilities with application firewall. It's called application cache poisoning. You can specifically tell the application to block certain traffic, like a SMT packet. But if you flood the cache with other packets that are permitted, it will save it into the cache until the cache entry is timed out, will allow any traffic even if it's not permitted. Like, let's say if you flood the cache with just regular HTTP packets, you just send 20, 30 packets. Well, even though the SMTP packet is blocked, the HTTP packet, since it's in the cache, the application firewall will allow even the SMT packet to come in because the cache is open. Until that cache is timed out, any other packet could come in, even if this is SMTP, which is blocked. This causes a real problem with an application firewall. That's another vulnerability that it has. It will have to be fixed later time. Then we got unknown application, another vulnerability. If the application firewall cannot detect the application, it will not do anything to the packet. It may terminate it because it detects as an unknown packet, or allow the full traffic even if it's an attack. This is based on the application firewall itself, what actions it takes between unknown application. But basically, you can send in gibberish information to it. If it's the kind of application firewall that allows an application in if it doesn't detect it, you can just send in gibberish as the signature and such, and have the exploit or whatever you have in there before that, and after that, and you send in a gibberish it doesn't take, and then it just allows the full traffic in. That's another bad vulnerability that this has. And here's even more future concerns with application firewalls. A lot of applications may do more things to hide themselves, such as encryption, steganography, or tunneling. So it may become a real problem for application firewalls if something isn't done to detect these issues. Some malicious applications may be able to hide themselves into normal traffic using the above methods, making it easier for attackers to exploit. This means, stuff like viruses or such may learn, how application firewalls work and be able to bypass it easy. and such through they can like send through HTTP traffic or something, and be able to get through there really easy using encryption or such. His suggestion concerning application firewalls: use App ID, but not only with pattern matching, because some applications may not have signatures at all because the application may be using encryption to hide itself. That's like I said in the previous slide. Using encryption, a virus or such can just get through really easy because App ID only does pattern matchings. If it doesn't detect the signature, then it doesn't it will get right on through there. Then we come to the question: is application firewalls bad? Like, I mean, you saw all these vulnerabilities, so I mean, one must think, why do they have application firewalls to begin with? I mean, why don't you just put in the IPS in there and just be done with it? Just set up some smoke rules or something. I mean, why do they have application firewalls to begin with? Well, so we asked this question and said, no, it is a new technology that does more than IPS by actually going in and detecting the application. It has a lower cost than IPS. It can help IPS by detecting unwanted application and have an IPS system, not worry about it. So you can actually combine an application firewall with an IPS to double secure your network and allow the IPS to only, detect layer 4 TCP packets. Just only do that, and let the application firewall worry about the layer 7 stuff, application stuff. And those two combined, will fully secure the network. IPS stopping exploits and stuff while the application firewall detecting the application. It's a really good combination, and it, like I said, has a lower cost and such, and it's a new technology. So here are some more thoughts concerning how to better application firewalls. Being able to detect exploits, a combination of both IPS and firewall. Like if they can have one product to combine, IPS and application firewall, that had, both of those combined together, that would be a really good product. One that detects applications while detecting exploits and such as well. Another thing that can be done is disable the caching so that no poison-based attacks can be done. Like in the earlier vulnerabilities I talked about how you can until the cache is timed out, you can send any packet in that you want, like, because they'll think it's still the packet that's in the cache. And third thought is actually being able to inspect the full application packet, telling what it is, and being able to tell if it's a malicious application or not. Right now, I mean, they can only say, this is a web server application, or HTTP. I mean, they like somebody's like browsing the web or something. I mean, they can't really go deep in there and see that this is a malicious application. That's why I can't stop attacks or such. Summary: application firewalls are good, but still have a lot of limitations and vulnerabilities like its previous firewall ancestors. A combination of the IPS and application firewall will most likely be the next step in firewall technology, and doing so preventing more attacks and having a more secure network. Alright, now where can you obtain web application firewalls? So basically here I found some different websites that you can go to. Let me link this out so you can see. Yeah. Here's some websites that you can go to that you can actually get a web application firewall, and it shows the different features and such of it. I mean, this is Barracuda. This is the Inforiva. See the link at the top. Fortinet, AppyCare, and then here is a whole list of different application firewalls. So I mean, there's plenty of places you can get this stuff from. So I mean, I don't know the price range of it though. I mean, every site I go to, it explains that you need a quote. You got to send in the information, and then they'll come back with a quote to let you know how much it's going to cost. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I hope you learned more about application firewalls and their vulnerability and exploits. Do not think application firewalls are bad because of all their vulnerability. They're still an advance in technology. So I mean, it's your decision if you want to get one or not. Anyways, thank you for your time.